my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
So just as I say we aren't going to let any dogs or water hoses turn us around, we aren't going to let any injunction turn us around. Well, I don't know what will happen now, but it really doesn't matter with me now, because I've been to the mountaintop.
The future doesn't belong to the faint-hearted. It belongs to the brave.
Come here to this gate. Mr. Gorbachev, open this gate. Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
You, the people, have the power to create machines, the power to create happiness. You, the people, have the power to make this life free and beautiful, to make this life a wonderful adventure. Then in the name of democracy, let us use that power. Let us all unite.
Now, there's one thing you might have noticed I don't complain about. Politicians.
Governments don't live together, people live together. Governments, you don't always get a fair word or a fair fight. Well, I've come here to give you either one, or get either one from you.
That is totally taken out of context.
Well, not really.
That the only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
In the councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex.
I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up,
T-minus 1 minute.
live out the true meaning of its creed.
People should not be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid of their people.
T-minus 50 seconds.
I am paying for this microphone, Mr.
Every dollar released from taxation
T-minus 40 seconds.
that is spent or invested will help create a new job.
Chivalry is dead, and women killed it.
T-minus 30 seconds.
Don't give yourselves to these unnatural men with machine minds and machine hearts. You are not machines.
T-minus 20 seconds.
We shall fight on the beaches. We shall fight on the landing ground and in the streets.
10, 9,
We shall fight
8,
in the hills.
6,
We shall never surrender!
3, 2, 1, 0.
All right. Internet. Are we live?
Yeah, wow.
Best intro ever. I was actually just seeing if if the sound would peak. Anyway, hey guys, welcome to the Problem Solver Politics live stream this lovely Monday evening. My name is Cardinellis. I am your host with Cody the Oracle.
Hey, everybody.
And I haven't seen this much drama. We got some drama to talk about today. I haven't seen this much drama since Catalonia, Spain in the 1920s during the Spanish Civil War. Sorry, the 1930s during the Spanish Civil War. Watching communists fight with socialists, fight with collectivists, fight with fascists is really, really fun to watch. And apparently there's some Bernie v. Warren drama about, well, I'm not even going to botch it. Cody, just tell us what's going on. I completely defer to your wisdom, Oracle.
Sorry, I'm clicking on boxes. All right. Well, hey, everybody. So, what is actually going on is actually a pretty good question. But I think some of you guys might be kind of familiar with this if you've been on the internet today. But I thought this was a really funny story because it dates back. Sorry about that. I don't know why my microphone's making that noise anyway. It dates back to actually over the weekend. So, actually, let's start there if we can. Sorry. It's a bit of a story, but it's a doozy. So, anyway, long story short, Elizabeth Warren has started lobbying a series of not so subtle accusations against Bernie Sanders. And I think it's really interesting to take a look at those right now, especially with how, let's say, things are starting to heat up. So here we go. This is, I guess, the CNN article more or less sums up a little bit of it. So we'll go through this together. So
hey, CNN doing decent reporting. What?
Well, hold on. They're doing a decent job of smearing Bernie Sanders. So this is what. And I mean, I don't like seeing anyone get a raw deal in the media. I don't care who you are. When journalists are just printing lies against you based by sources.
No, they actually got an inside scoop that might be resultant from a primary source. This is crazy.
No, they didn't. Long story short, spoilers. No, that isn't what happened.
Look, CNN is credible journalism that I hold in high regard.
Warren staffers heard somebody say something. But anyways, here we go. So they say the stakes were high when Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren met at Warren's apartment in Washington, D.C. one evening in December of 2018. The longtime friends knew they could soon be running against each other for president. So yes, these two had a meeting at Elizabeth Warren's apartment, they mentioned. Yes, talking about the fact that both of them were running in 2020. You know, how they're going to game plan. They didn't want to split the progressive votes. They go through this. And however, this CNN article just blows through the first hour of this. They or the first good bit of the story. They updated this and I checked it last. They go through a lot of this. Anyway, long story short, Elizabeth Warren camp asserts that Bernie Sanders told Elizabeth Warren that a woman could not be elected president. Now, Bernie Sanders issued the following statement. It is ludicrous to believe that at the same meeting where Elizabeth told me she was going to run for president, I would tell her a woman couldn't win. And then he also goes on to bring up the fact that he backed Hillary Clinton in 2016. So, but maybe
they said the same thing to Katie Hill.
Okay.
No, they did. The California DNC said the same thing to Katie Hill.
2 for 3 today.
And she took him to task. I give her credit where credit is due. The head of the California Democratic Party said, I don't think in the 25th district that anything but a man can win. And she was like, oh, yeah, well, watch me. And then he ended up getting busted for a bunch of sexual harassment stuff anyway. But, yeah, dude. I mean, there's that strain in the Democrat Party. They don't like to admit it. But there's some deep misogyny over there, man. Deep misogyny.
Well, no, I don't think. Hold on. Sorry. I'm kind of clicking through stuff right now because all my tabs got messed up. Mark Percy, $20 super chat. Great job, guys. Thanks for the content. Thank you, Mark. Really appreciate it very much. Anyway, though, this is what I thought was hilarious. So, a senior Bernie Sanders advisor is telling me they believe that Elizabeth Warren's campaign intentionally leaked a false description of the 2018 meeting. Says it's a recent pattern of Warren attacking the Dem frontrunner. This is from earlier today. Well, anyway, so we kind of blitzed through this. I'll go back and recap. But so, an Elizabeth Warren staffer said that Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren, a woman, couldn't be elected president when they had a meeting. People said they believed it was done intentionally. Anyway, a statement was released by Elizabeth Warren about this. Said Bernie and I met for more than 2 hours in December 2018 to discuss the 2020 election, our past work together, and our shared goals: beating Donald Trump, taking back our government from the wealthy and well-connected, and building an economy that works for everyone. Among the topics that came up was what would happen if Democrats nominated a female candidate. I thought a woman could win. He disagreed. I have no interest in discussing this private meeting any further because Bernie and I have far more in common than our differences in punditry. Wow. I'm in this race to talk about what's broken in this country and how to fix it, and that's what I'm going to continue to do. I know Bernie is in the race for the same reason. We have been friends and allies in this fight for a long time, and I have no doubt we will continue to work together to defeat Donald Trump and put our government side of people. So basically, Elizabeth Warren said, yep, that's basically what happened. Bernie Sanders told me a woman could not be elected president. And I know that a lot of you guys might be hearing this and going, okay, and this has absolutely, I don't want to say caused a meltdown, but this is a lot of people freaking out. Now, here's the thing last thing I want to show on this, and we can move on a little bit, is why would Elizabeth Warren leak out false Oh, I think I forgot to mention that. Yeah. By the way, the Warren campaign was leaking out false stuff. Not false. I take that back. Hold on.
Actually,
I'm the Bernie defender.
All of her policies could count as false leaks.
The Warren campaign came out and said that Bernie Sanders was telling us the Sanders campaign was telling supporters to tell people that Elizabeth Warren couldn't be elected because she only appeals to old white people. Now, I've heard unofficially that Bernie Sanders supporters are also telling people not to vote for Andrew Yang because he can't win either. So I actually kind of believe that one. But I think it's interesting to show that the rift is starting to form, and I think part of it comes from this. Elizabeth Warren is kind of, thank you, Real Clear Politics, kind of tanking a bit in the polls. A recent uptick, though, a recent surge. So I think she's going to go on the offensive, and she realizes Bernie's got to go. To either her or him. So that's your quick update of what's going on with all the Bernie Sanders.
Hey, can I give a shout out to Mark
drama.
Percy?
Please, by all means.
So look, here's what we're going to do. We weren't actually going to do this maybe until next week. But just because Mark Percy was such a cool guy and was generous with us in that first super chat, we're going to do a little Mark Percy special here today. I still got like 20 hats, I'd say. I think left over, wouldn't you say, from all the bazillions of hats that we bought. And I've already boxed them, and they're ready to get sent out. So if you live in the continental United States and you guys hook us up with a 20, if you guys can afford that as a super chat, not only will we answer your question live in the super chat, but all you have to do is email us your in real life address, all right? And we will actually send you a Problem Solver Politics hat right here. So, Mark, if you email me your address, my man, this Problem Solver Politics hat is yours, baby. It's got your name literally right on it. Mark Percy, just like this, the one that me and Cody wear. Anyway, so that's for everybody. Anybody, $20 super chat, I'll hook you up with a hat. So,
very clear. So anyway, I guess we can
let's keep going.
No, we can move off that. I just wanted to bring up the fact, if you guys hear what's going on with Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren, I'm pretty sure the Bernie Sanders campaign is telling its, like, who knows who in the campaign's doing it. I'm pretty sure they are telling people to, when they're canvassing, actively say, oh, don't support these candidates, they can't win, which is kind of like just one of those things that normally politicians don't like being done to them, so they're not doing. So Elizabeth Warren is saying that Bernie Sanders, some of you in chat think he actually said it. Honestly, he might have, but the bottom line is I don't like seeing anyone in the media get dragged because I heard someone tell me they were there and they overheard
It's weak.
this.
It's secondary. Yeah, it's a secondary source.
Because they'll use that to print lies. Even if this one isn't a lie, that's how you print lies against someone. You get some random person. Oh, I was there. I heard it. So anyway, that's all we're going to say about that. I just thought it was funny that as Elizabeth Warren is falling in the polls, she is flailing it around town, attempting to drag Bernie down with her, which, hey, who knows what that means for other candidates, right? Especially because both Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders might be spending a lot of time together soon, since they will be hanging out in the impeachment trial, which actually is kind of an interesting thing I want to talk about as well during the stream. Like I said, this first topic I didn't have a whole lot for. I just thought it was funny. But one thing that's a little interesting is this idea of, people have been talking, so it looks like obviously the debate tomorrow night will probably not be postponed by impeachment, right? So that's probably going to go on as planned. However, impeachment is probably going to start pretty soon. I think the articles are going to be sent to Senate along with the case managers or whatever. I think it's going to happen in the next few days, as far as I know. So that means that once this happens and they move forward with the impeachment hearing, as soon as Senate has to call everyone back to start doing whatever the Senate duties are, that means Elizabeth Warren, Amy Klobuchar, and Bernie Sanders won't be campaigning anymore at all. They'll be in D.C. working their Senate duties, doing their jobs, by the way, so they should be there. Still, what is that going to mean for Andrew Yang, Joe Biden, and Pete Buttigieg, especially because, keep in mind, at the Senate trial, Joe Biden will be a key component of it and might be called as a witness. So what does it really mean for, like, Pete Buttigieg and Andrew Yang, especially in these early states? Now, if they postpone it a little bit longer, maybe they could push it after, but I mean, it does make a difference campaigning in the last 10 days of an election or so. I think that shows. It mostly, less so in changing minds, more for in engaging voters who are kind of borderline, should I bother to go out and vote? And they'll kind of go out there and vote last minute. But what will it mean for, like I said, Andrew Yang and Buttigieg in particular, if this impeachment hearing is going on basically the very end of January and the very beginning of February, which would be prime time to campaign for this?
All right.
I don't know. I'm just wondering, what do you think about that, man? Because I personally think it is potentially a really, really good break for Yang that all of his main competition will be not campaigning at all.
Well, and they're also
stretch.
stuck in a vice where it's like if they are campaigning now, they're really just plain old perceived as just.
No.
I mean, they really should be.
Wait, no, hold on. I'm sorry. I want to go back to what I said. No, what I'm saying is if the Senate impeachment trial goes through, they will literally be in Washington, D.C. They cannot be in Iowa. They cannot be in New Hampshire because they're doing their job in Washington, D.C. I wonder if one of them will try the publicity stunt of being in 2 places in one day. I don't even know if they will, though. And that could be going on the last week or 2 of January.
Yeah.
Which would be, remember, they vote, what, February 3rd, I'm thinking? I don't know, man. I think that could be a really
Dude, this
good
whole
break for
impeachment
Yang.
thing has
No,
been
but-
such a farce.
Okay,
like,
but-
I mean, it's been 2 months.
Whatever.
So if they haven't been predictable in the past 2 months since they started, what makes you think that we're going to be able to nail it on the head and guess that it's going down the first month of February?
Well, because they literally are moving forward, sending the articles forward like in the next day or so. Like that's like they're at this point now. Oh, by the way, $2 super chat from Matthew Dominguez. What do you guys think about this fire equipment tax in LA?
Oh, I actually totally have an opinion on this, Cody.
I do not have an opinion on this.
Cody hates it that I have opinions on lots of different things because he says you shouldn't talk about things that you don't know about, but I actually know about this one.
I do agree about that. Now I am guilty of it. That's why I say it so much because I know just how dumb you could sound. Just take a look at me, right, huh? But anyway, what is your point of the? I'm curious, man. I don't know anything about this. I'm actually curious what this is.
It's actually a pain in the butt. There's been multiple pieces of legislation that have been suggested and debated in California and ultimately passed over actually kind of like there's a history of this over the past 15 to 20 years. But basically, they're trying to make it so that private companies can't go in and can't inspect fire equipment. You know, if you have a school or if you have an office building or something like that, you have to have a fire extinguisher like on every floor, one next to every emergency exit. There's certain amounts of building code that have to be followed. And what they're trying to do is make it so that private inspectors can't go in and can't, maintain the equipment and then recertify it. They want the fire department to have to do it because then fire department personnel can charge for it and then the government can be making more money, right? However, isn't it a massive conflict of interest if the same government that regulates you have to have something is the only one that is allowed to inspect it and make money off of it? You literally can force people. It's the ultimate grift, right? But there's a supermajority of Democrats in Congress, and they can pretty much just do whatever they want. Even if we had a Republican governor, they have so many state senators and so many state legislators that they can override it. And so we're actually getting to a point where we will have, they're trying to do the same thing with pest control. They're trying to get rid of private pest control companies, make it so that only the Department of Agriculture can spray pesticides. Like if they could, they would get rid of Orkin and Terminex and, all those other things here. It's crazy, dude. Like it's literally the closest thing to like the overthrow of the czars that you can think of without violence, all just completely through legislation. It's crazy. So hopefully that answered your question, Matthew Dominguez. Thank you for the super chat. He's already got his hat. Michael A.M. says, if it's extended, could Yang make it? Cody, what do you think? Thanks for the super chat, Michael.
I have to go back and double check all the numbers. Depends. Extended till what? Extended till like literally right before the debate. I think he would be 1 poll closer, which would put him 3 of 4, I believe, or he might have got the 4th poll. Several polls were released today. Honestly, I have to go back and look at all of them to tell you exactly where he would be in that. But I really, 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 really do not think at this point Andrew Yang will be in the debate stage. Anyway, anyhow, it's less than 24 hours. There's logistic things. There are a million reasons why he probably at this point will not be in the debate stage. Especially because I think the DNC is actively working to keep him off is probably one of the prime reasons. So they're like, we did it. What do you mean? We made the rules and we finally rigged the rules just right so we couldn't succeed. Like, we're not going to change them now. So I think that's the other reason why. The other important thing to keep in mind is looking forward to the second debate. So not the second debate, I apologize, but the February debate, second debate in 2020. But we don't know how much a qualification for that debate is going to be based on polling or how heavy it'll be weighted to actual results. Because I believe this first debate would be after the earliest voting in February on the 3rd. They could exit polls. But I think they said they're going to weigh into the fact what you actually do in those states.
Okay. Oh, we got 2 more super chats. Can I address them really fast? I've never seen this before. We've got 5 pounds, English pounds.
Cool.
Yeah. That's pretty sick.
Shout outs, man. Awesome.
So anyway, Matthew Dominguez asks, they told me over the phone that they were trying to increase property tax to fund new fighter equipment. Oh yeah, they're always trying to, on the backs of, they're actually trying to get rid of Proposition 13, which is a property tax protection here in California. And one of the excuses that they're saying is that we need more firefighter equipment. It's total BS. They raised $16 million last year specifically for the homeless, and homelessness went up almost 10%. So they're full of crap. They're liars, every last one of them. Also got pulled on Dem candidates, one more Yang, and then there's a little symbol here that I don't recognize. So you'll have to clarify what that means, Matt. Blaze Gamer says, what do you think on the possibility the debate rules could be relaxed if Yang does well in the Nevada poll tomorrow, like Rand Paul in 2016? I found the RNC to be a lot more reasonable with a very burdensome situation in 2016 than the DNC has been. But my heart kind of goes out to both parties because, Cody, in my adult life, I've never seen one primary like in 2016 that had so many candidates. There was like nearly 20 Republican candidates for president.
And more this time in 2020.
And then now in 2020 on the Democrat side, I think we finally hit 22 at one point before it topped out. When I was a kid, the poster that hung in my 6th grade class that had every Republican candidate for the primaries during the election after George W. Bush, when we were actually studying civics, had like 5 or 6 people on it. And I remember my teacher commenting saying, oh, wow, there's a lot running this year. Poor Mrs. Pace would have a heart attack if she had to hang the poster, the scroll, in my 6th grade civics class. So anyway, the DNC could relax rules. They always can relax rules. I don't think they're interested, though, because they're not interested in helping out anybody but the people they want, and it's pretty dang obvious which people they want. They are corrupt as H. Humanity First says less than 30 likes, 200 watching, smack like gang. Is he talking about us? Because we're up to 166 right now and growing.
We appreciate it, man. But I tell you what, man, I got one thing to say to that, so I appreciate it very much. Thank you very much for the super chat. I will say LSU just tied Clemson 7-7. So national title game seems to be off to a roaring start. Apologize. Hey, we're doing streams on Monday nights regardless of national title games or not. So I appreciate it, though.
So Atlas says, yes, DNC in 2020 is way more corrupt. Jeff Leclerc says, how's it Yangin' dudes? And Diva J461 says, end dudette. So I think we got a dudette in here.
Oh, awesome.
I haven't heard the term dudette in quite a while, and that's a pretty sick term. I think we need to bring it back.
Okay, very much. Hold on. Okay, one second. Before we just read off everything, I want to get to one other thing. Where is it? Oh yeah, really quickly, I wanted to touch on this. I thought this was funny. So this is apparently what Bernie Sanders supporters are being told to candidates leaning a certain way. I thought this was interesting. Here we go.
Hit it.
I'm sorry, I have to resize it. Sometimes you guys can see it happen. Sometimes if I have to move a picture around too much on the screen, it's like my brain just stops working and I can't say what's going on.
It's overloaded.
Anyways, so this is alleged. I think it's real though. So this is what Bernie Sanders canvassers are told to say to somebody if they are leaning Biden.
Are allegedly told to say.
Leaning Biden. So if you want to, we do a role play here for a second, Card. Do you want to be the canvasser or the Biden supporter?
Oh, I'll be the canvasser.
Okay, cool. So here,
so first off, I've got my organic coffee.
Oh no.
Okay, and my tight pants, my little nut huggers.
I shouldn't have asked.
And my really worn Converses, so I look cool. And now I'm approaching the door, self-righteously. And I'm just kidding. So what's going on? Hit me.
So anyway, if I were to say, I appreciate very much that you're here canvassing for Bernie Sanders, but I'm a Joe Biden guy. What would the Bernie Sanders campaign have you say?
If they're leaning Biden, I understand many people like Biden. The problem is no one is really excited about him. He doesn't really have any volunteers and has no support among young people. And that's a problem because we need young people to turn out in massive numbers to beat Trump, anti-Trumpism. Biden also has a lot of weaknesses as a candidate that Trump would exploit. Trump would clobber him, not clobberin style, just with a C, not a K. Trump would clobber him. Also has, on his Iraq war vote, for instance, and his support for free trade agreements. That's exactly what Trump did with Hillary, and it's part of why Hillary lost. Bernie, on the other hand, has been consistent in his positions for decades, and voters trust that he's on their side. So it won't work for Trump to attack him on his record. And Bernie is the only candidate who's generating an enthusiastic movement of people who will donate volunteers and vote for him. Well, that's not true that Bernie's the only candidate who's
okay, but hold on. You know what's funny about that?
What?
Some of those Biden ribs are pretty accurate. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He has no one's really excited about it. He doesn't have any volunteers, and he has no support from young people. That's interesting. So I thought that was funny. And you can go through the Buttigieg one. These are shorter, so I'll just blow through them. I understand Pete has many admirable qualities as a candidate, but I'd be very concerned that if he became our nominee, he would not be able to beat Trump in the general election. He's not winning over young people or African Americans. Two groups, which or who, are absolutely essential to turn out, which, by the way, is true. And then Elizabeth Warren is the funny one because it says that only affluent, wealthy white people would. I guess we're done anything. So I thought it was
wow. Imagine how satisfying the poli-sci intern that graduated into campaign staff for Bernie Sanders 2020, who was tasked with writing this. Imagine how satisfying that was for the person.
But saying that Elizabeth Warren only appeals to wealthy white people.
Yeah, just
that is pretty funny.
You know this is just some total, social engineer SJ Dub thinking I just got to write the Bernie Sanders thing and rib Buttigieg, rib Warren, rib Biden. That was and knowing that there's going to be a bunch of sycophantic little munchkins out there just parroting what you tell them to parrot, that's power. That's a rush. They must be loving it. They're on cloud 9.
Allegedly. Actually, I forgot. we have a card in the mind reader here. Monday nights, card in the mind reader. He's here every Monday.
Yeah.
No, I want to talk about something else someone brought up. It was interesting. There was talk about Yang meeting with Obama in January. That was true. Yang has not gone public with that. I don't have any additional information. So, still waiting. I have to imagine as soon as he can go public, he will with that. Unless, hey, maybe some of you guys might want to hear this, but maybe that was the beginning of Obama bringing Yang in and grooming him to be Biden's VP, saying, hey, you ever thought about taking a VP spot, my friend?
But if you think that was happening, Obama would have already endorsed Biden. Well, remember, like I said, it does not seem like Obama's sold on Biden yet.
If the impeachment unfolds a certain way, Joe Biden could be the only front-runner candidate able to campaign during the most important months of the primary season. Maybe.
Man.
Why explicitly and why seriously? What if Obama's just signing off on that? He's like, yeah, I totally sign off behind the scenes on you guys rigging this for Biden, so he doesn't have to actually publicly endorse him. Total conspiracy. I'm not saying it's happening. It's literally just hey, what do you think? Just saying that could be potentially it, right?
All right. I just realized that I got to move the hats somewhere that's a little bit more sightly.
Okay.
Because they are looking ugly up there.
Okay, so while you're doing that, I'll go check out the chat for a minute. Yang didn't mention speaking with Obama. That's why he won't release his full health.
Yeah, we did a video on that. Well, no, it's just he said, I want to say back, I think it was early December, maybe late November. I could be wrong. At an event, Yang said that he's going to be meeting with Obama at the early part of January. But we have not heard anything about that. Obama offered Yang a pack. Wow, that's really interesting. If that did happen, that'd be really cool. Alex P has a very deep and profound comment. He says Cardin is smart. Thank you, Alex P. And I got a question here about when Dave Chappelle will be doing stand-up for Yang. Dad isn't mad. Wants to know when Yang will be doing stand-up. Yang will be doing stand-up for Chappelle. Actually, that'd be really hilarious if Yang had to make a couple of jokes and run them by Dave Chappelle. He'd probably get dad jokes. But anyway, Diva J461 says, let's take a moment to honor Cardin's 200 IQ. Thank you. And Blaze Gamer says, UK Yang Gang are going to be phone banking this weekend. Wow. What's it like to get a call from the UK with that beautiful British accent saying, vote for my boy, Andrew Yang? There's over 20 of us. Oh, how interesting. If we can do it, you Americans definitely can hit the goal. Wow. So UK Yang Gang, are you a lot of expats? Are you just the English spouses of Americans that are currently living in England? What's the UK Yang Gang
I think it's
like?
just people from England who like Andrew Yang.
That's cool. Yeah, but I don't have
people want to... Trust me, there was a bunch of people tweeting out about the English elections a little while ago.
Actually, it's true. And I'm amazed abroad. Like in Argentina, there's two. You have to take a European history class. You have to take a South American history class. And then you have to take 2 years of American history and politics. Like how much the world studies the American system in comparison to their own is wildly different than how much American children study the rest of the world system. It's pretty crazy. Anyway, Giggity Goo 52. That is a great name. Bias aside, top 3 ranked following Iowa and New Hampshire. You mean our favorite top 3?
Like who will be 1, 2, 3 coming at it? I think I understand, so I'll take this one first. So I think, I said biases aside, coming out of New Hampshire and Iowa. Is that what you said? Iowa and New Hampshire. God, I hate the cop-out answer of, as we were talking about before. It really, I think, depends a lot on what happens with impeachment and campaigning. Let's just say nothing happens. Everyone's able to campaign the same as it is. Honestly, the top 3 heading out of those states, I think would be, much as I hate to say it, as things stand today, I think it'd be Biden, Sanders, Buttigieg. I think Warren is falling faster and Buttigieg is holding for whatever reason. Now, I do want to do one last thing and double check for myself. I do want to make sure I didn't get my Buttigieg states wrong, because I know Buttigieg, they love him in Iowa. I want to make sure New Hampshire is another state. Exactly. He's close with Warren in New Hampshire. I'll show you guys right here. This is them in New Hampshire, and he's pretty close with her. I just think at the end of the day, Bernie Sanders is going to take Warren voters on voting day. I don't think Warren is going to take Bernie Sanders voters on voting day, if that makes sense. Like, I think someone will go to the voting booth, maybe leaning Warren, but kind of Bernie, and go Bernie. I don't think it'll go the other way. So that would be my totally unbiased thing. Assuming everything goes at the same rate it is right now, I do also think that impeachment and the upcoming debate are going to, I think they're going to throw a wrench in things. I think they'll really change things a lot right now. So that was that.
Okay. So Michael Am asked a question. Chances of endorsing Yang, thanks for the $2 super chat, or something sim. By that, I think he means similar. Chances of Obama endorsing Yang. Well, first off, I don't think it's based on chance. When I come here, when I have family come in here, oftentimes they talk about, it's more than 1 in a million chance you'll get a script made into a movie. Well, not if the script sucks, because then there's a 0% chance, because Hollywood doesn't pick up crappy scripts. So it's really about whether the script's good. And, that's narrowed down to 200. There's about 200 films made. So if you make a good script, there's probably a good chance that it'll get made. If your script sucks, it won't get made. So I don't think it's chances of Obama endorsing Yang, because that insinuates like a lottery or some kind of speculation based upon probability. I don't know if there's a lot in it for Obama. And he's very gracious in his speech. He's very charismatic in his articulation, but he is also a very shrewd politician who was smart enough to choose Joe Biden in the first place, while John McCain was choosing train wrecks like the 2 electoral votes that Sarah Palin brought him. Meanwhile, Joe Biden's bringing, Pennsylvania and the Rust Belt along with him. So, I would have to really see a good cost-benefit analysis of what the ROI, the return on investment for endorsing Yang would be, other than a bunch of Yang gangers loving him. Jimmy Ombean says, should Yang go mainly on right-wing media? Well, no, he should be on all media that he can get on whatsoever. I think right-wing media has just been more fair to him. And kind of allowed him to go a little bit more in depth, like his conversations on Tucker Carlson and his conversations on some of these podcasts and so on and so forth. At least in the political sphere, I think have a little bit more been more fair. And he's really had a chance to shine in the new media, like on the H3H3 podcast. He has, a chance to shine when he goes on some of the other like non-political media. Because also, what is left-wing media? MSNBC, they're disastrous. Follow Scott Santon's thread of the people that botch all of the graphics and purposely misrepresent them. And it's almost like 70% MSNBC and NBC people. So if that's the left-wing media, then I wouldn't say don't go on it, because you want to get your name recognition and your message out there as much as possible. But it does seem that there are certain there's certain just get in as much as you can. The best marketing advice I ever heard was get as many avenues of marketing as you can for the least amount of expense as possible. But I definitely think there's avenues that treat them a lot better than others. Anyway, Mark Percy, another $20 super chat. Thanks, brother. He says, thanks for the content and the hat. I only need one, just trying to spread the love. Thanks, guys. You two are a great duo. Thank you, Mark. You're a stud. Send us your address and I'll send you that one hat. Cody, what do you think? Should he go on? I think that's an interesting question. Should he go mainly on right-wing media?
I agree. He shouldn't turn any media appearance down. Except, actually, I do think he still should be turning down MSNBC appearances.
You think he should honor the boycott?
I think he should never gone back, because guess what? Who just called him a billionaire out of nowhere the other day? It was MSNBC. So I think he should have stayed on that one. I think other than that, though, I think anyone that asks, he should say, yeah. I mean, I don't see why not. It can't hurt. Especially because, like, actually, I walk that back. I don't necessarily know if him doing, like, a Breitbart interview helps him. You know what I mean? Like, I really don't know. Like, I don't know if he was to do a post-millennial interview, if that would help him. But why not, right? I think the larger thing, if you're talking about, like, Fox News, I guess, or New York Post, kind of like the larger, more popular things that are conservative and right-wing, yeah, definitely. I mean, it'll just help. I don't see why not. Like I said, I think when you get more to a certain point, I would say, man, maybe just... Because it'd go both ways. Like, you just don't want to get to fringe kind of weird stuff, right? But mainstream, just conservative stuff, like a daily... For example, Daily Wire, that was a great example in a Daily Wire interview. I mean, some stuff like that, yeah, it's a pretty good one. But stuff that's a little bit too partisan-y, I would start questioning why. Because, for whatever reason, there is a lot of people who watch Fox who also watch other networks and aren't just, like, full-on Republican voters. A lot of people who read... Probably more so stuff like... I mean, it's weird because a lot of Republicans... A lot of right-wing stuff like Daily Wire and stuff, a lot of it's commentary opinion, so if you're not really interested in the right-wing commentary, you just wouldn't read it. It's not that much news-breaking stuff, but I don't know.
So we're getting a lot of comments here. We're getting a lot of comments here of people saying, yeah, screw MSNBC. And I got a question for the chat here. Do you think he should ever go on MSNBC again? And if he decides yes, then he doesn't need to make any announcement. But if he decides no, I think he should actually re-honor his own boycott and say, look, I made a mistake. I didn't honor my own boycott, and they still ended up screwing up and calling me Jeff Yang, the billionaire tech entrepreneur, whatever it was. Okay. Obviously, emotionally, we want to say screw them. But strategically, I'm curious to see what you guys think the strategic advantage of an MSNBC boycott would be, because I think that could be a big publicity thing. If he could find a way on new media.
It's the boycott's over. He had a highly public boycott and he walked it back.
Yeah, that's true. He kind of did shoot himself in the foot.
It's over, man.
He didn't stay strong.
You can't go back now.
Okay, he's had three errors this week.
Who's gonna believe it if you go back? You know what? Now I'm serious. Like that ship has sailed, man. He is where he is.
So this is the week of Andrew Yang's errors. His staff muffed the Ohio primary ballot.
Big time, yeah.
He didn't get on the Ohio primary ballot. He's gonna have to be a write-in candidate. Okay. Not his fault. A lot of it's a systemic fault, but he hasn't pushed the needle in the demographics he's needed to push the needle. So he missed out on the two final qualifying polls. All right. And then the third one is, what was the third blunder this week? Oh yeah, no, the third one was he ended up caving and going on MSNBC.
That was like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, it's 2 weeks ago. Okay. So we'll say it like the past 10 days. Yeah. All right. We got another super chat. Hit it, Cody. Where is it?
Does Blaze Gamer $2 or €2, I believe.
There it is.
Carden, tell us about your knowledge of Spanish.
Oh, hey, why don't you tell him, Cody? I don't want to brag. Come on, man.
Oh, really? Okay. Anyway, what was it? Oh, Carden. He's a Mormon door knocker. I don't know what they call him. And anyway, I believe he studied Spanish in college, and then he actually went to Argentina for his missionary service. Lived there for years, speaking the language with the people every day.
All right, rock on. Is that what you really think, Cody?
Well, I believe the chain of events was this. He learned to speak Spanish, and then he went to a country where people speak Spanish and lived there and spoke Spanish. I believe it's basically what happened.
Okay, close. It's actually reverse. Okay. I started out college studying physics, and I was a physics major. And then I volunteered to do a service mission for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, a.k.a. the Mormons, in which I was assigned the Buenos Aires North mission in Argentina. So I lived there for 2 years, and I was the only American in my flat. I had nothing but Chileans and Uruguayos and Paraguayos and Argentinos and Peruanos and a bunch of other South Americans there. And if you want to eat in a foreign country, you better learn how to speak the language real quick, or else you won't eat or you won't know what you're eating. You know? And down in Argentina, things can get dicey. All right. So anyway,
that was close.
I wanted to eat, so I learned how to speak. And then I fell in love with the language and graduated in Spanish when I came back. So yeah, that's how I got my knowledge of Spanish, and I've spoken every day since then because of my my profession as well. En mi trabajo hablamos cada día con los mexicanos y los otros latinos que trabajan para nuestra compañía.
All right, I got some
Y
bad.
está bien.
I got some bad news for the chat.
Yeah.
You never guess who just attacked UBI.
Who just attacked UBI?
Someone came out and attacked UBI. Matthew Dominguez said, do a super chat. Thank you, Matthew Dominguez. Said, tell us about Argentinian barbecue in great detail, please.
Okay, I will keep it short. It won't be in great detail, but it will be in great short detail. They eat every single freaking part of the cow that you did not know existed. So, Cody, have you ever had any non-American cuts of beef?
Well, I mean, are you talking about like intestines or tongue or what?
Yeah, like anything that you don't see in a usual Southern California grocery store meat market.
Yeah.
Okay, like what have you eaten?
Like intestines and tongue.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. So they actually have really great chorizo. In America, the sausages are packed into this plasticky thing that you can actually cook. But down there, they take the intestines and they pack in all of the hamburger and the parts that they don't really cut for the steaks. And that's how you make chorizo. Also, they eat the tongue. They soak it in a vinaigrette. You know what really tastes really good? Heart and kidney. Kidney's weird though, because when you buy it, you have to cut it up into slices and then boil out the urine. It smells like ammonia when you're cooking it. Liver is super good for you because it's really rich in iron, and the fat around the heart of the cow and the neck muscles are actually super soft and make a very good but small steak that you don't generally get in the United States of America. So if you can ever go to like the Vallarta restaurants, or if you're ever in Florida where there's a lot of Cubano supermercados and stuff like that, you can get some really interesting cuts of beef that you don't necessarily find in the United States of America. So Matthew Dominguez, hopefully that helped you out. Oh, and you got to get choripan. I know you're a big taco guy, Matthew, but you got to try some Argentine stuff like empanadas and choripan. Boom, shagalaka. Okay, so Giggity Goo 52 says Juicy Smollett. I think Jesse Smollett got jumped by burners with math hats. Is that the new rumor that we got to start spreading around? Is that it was the math hat? And
it is a funny idea that like we were talking earlier. That is kind of what the Bernie campaign is at the point now where they're going around like, oh, don't vote for those people, they can't win. Blah. Like, so we're gonna get false flag attacks by burners. But hold on, I wanted to get to this because it's really deeply important to me.
So Andrew, are you done yet or no?
No, because former U.S. Rep. John Delaney, a moderate Democrat from Maryland running for president, is polling at 0% in Iowa. He's actually polling at 0% everywhere. He hasn't been in the debate stage since July, yet the 56-year-old former CEO is still campaigning because he thinks he'll beat expectations.
Wow, rock on.
Told the editorial board of the Quad City Times, and hold on. The results of the Iowa caucus are important, not just for who wins, but for who does better than people expected, because that's his message. Dude, 0% can only be worse than people expected, right? 0% can't be better than anyone expected. That's the floor. Here we go. He goes, these ideas include several Delaney has stumped on since announcing his campaign. They go through this. Where does he get to what I'm talking about? I want to get to where he slams UBIs. Here we go. The universal basic income, a hallmark of entrepreneur Andrew Yang's campaign, is, quote, the worst piece of legislation being talked about in this election, said Delaney. Wow. Who favors more progressive safety net policies that differentiate between citizens in need and citizens with means. You know what? Sorry, that's all I got to say. Just get out of here, Delaney, with that. Get out of here, Delaney. Hold on one second. Apparently still running for president. They said polling at 0%. That's what I got to say about that. Anyway, super chat, Carden.
Okay, so we got a couple of really interesting questions here. Oh, you want me to hit the super chat?
Of course.
Okay, so super chat after Juicy Smollett. Sorry, it switched around. Oh, keep rolling the tongue, says David Valdez. I'll keep doing that. Alex P says, LOL, Carden sounds like the soccer commentators. And Andrew LaBerge says, I would like to see the Spanish podcast by PSP. Hey, actually, we could do something really fun right now, Cody. Only if the chat's interested, though. You guys got to give me a yes or a no. If you say yes, I'll do the intro really fast in 15 seconds of what it would sound like if we were doing it in Spanish. I'll do a Spanish intro, and the only thing you got to say is, hey, everybody, and you're going to know exactly when to say it. But you just say, hola a todos. You just say, hola a todos. No, you just say hola.
No, I have to
or say hello, everybody. Just say hello, everybody.
I have to say hey, everybody, either way, because, it'd be...
You just do your hey, everybody. Okay. Yeah. But if you guys are interested and you want us to do it, I will totally do a Spanish intro to Problem Solver Politics. And it'll be cray-cray. So David Valdez, keep rolling the tongue. I will, dude. That's where it's at, is rolling the tongue. So, we're getting some yes. We're getting a lot of yeses. All right. John Valdez says, no, please stop. But I think he's overwhelmed by a bunch of yeses. Okay, I want to try it, Cody. Just once.
Oh, by all means.
Okay, cool. All right, so let me see. So we'd start out and we'd say like, hola, damas y caballeros, yo me llamo Cardón y bienvenidos a Problem Solver Politics con Cody the Oracle.
Hey, everybody.
Y hoy vamos a hablar del chisme que está entre el campo de Elizabeth Warren y un Bernie Sanders. Y está increíble, del cual va a hablar mi amigo Cody the Oracle. Cody, decime lo que pasa.
All right, so I have this video here of a bunch of people fighting at a restaurant in the UK. And I thought it'd be cool to watch. Want to watch it?
Yeah, sure. Let's go from Argentina to the UK, bro.
It's got nothing to do with politics, but the videos are making the rounds. I thought it was interesting, so we'll put it up. I'll play it without sound because people yelling at each other with an English accent. No offense, isn't it? A lot of you guys are solid. You seen this here, Carden?
Yeah.
Have you seen this video yet?
Diner caught calmly enjoying his meal during brawl at UK.
Yeah, check this dude out right here, man.
Oh, the resolution's a little bit low on my thing. Oh, snap.
Anyway, the guy doesn't move the whole time. That's all it is.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, I don't know. I literally had it just pulled up and I clicked over to it. Anyway, Carden, back to you.
So, we're getting a lot of really positive comments. 10 out of 10. Amazing. Love it. LOL. Loved it. Hey, we got to do this more often. Should we do a Spanish podcast, dog?
Well, I mean, we can't, unfortunately, but you can. We should just. I think there's some fun stuff you could do. Definitely.
Or like a daily message in Spanish.
Well, yeah, just like a video talking about any of the. I don't. It's tough because, like, honestly, I can press the buttons, man, but you speak Spanish. I don't. So
no, we got to give you something to do. Like,
I'll press the buttons.
No, if you could just nod your head, like
Okay,
I'll have a yes or no button. So like when you're supposed to nod your head or you're supposed to go like this, you know what I'm saying? And then, by the way, anytime you just want to get along, you could always just say así es, which is the same as being like, that's right. That's right.
I'd rather,
so you could just sit there and at just different parts, you'd be like, así es. You know?
I'd rather have a much, much smaller presence than just be like present as a mute. You know what I mean? Like, it's fine.
Oh, that's funny.
But no, I think it'd be cool. Like, there'd be certain. It would depend. You'd have to look and see what are the parts that like the Spanish speaking community isn't getting translated into Spanish for them gang related. But I think it'd be cool, just like synopsing news or whatever very quickly for people who speak Spanish.
Well, that is the biggest problem. Is you need to literally have a completely fluent staff. David Pakman actually has spoken about this. Periodically, he's been asked, "Why don't you speak Spanish?" What's interesting is him and I will sound very similar. It was his first language. Argentinian Castellano, so obviously his is going to be better than mine. But we both pronounce uniquely the double L and the Y's. Latinos from Central America and the Iberian Peninsula will say like, yo me llamo Guillermo de la Playa. Argentines would say like, yo me llamo Guillermo de la Playa. There's a difference there where it's been kind of Italianized. But yeah, it's not like if one host can do it, you can hold a conversation. We would be limited there. And he has actually noticed the same thing I've noticed. But you know where it works? You're a classic cinema guy, right?
Yeah.
Do you know what one of the best horror films of the classic horror era was? The golden age of the movie monster was?
What does that even mean?
It wasn't in English.
Okay, what does it even mean?
It was Spanish Dracula. During the daytime, the English-speaking crew would come and would film with Bela Lugosi and all the people on the Universal backlot. Dracula was like, I am Dracula. You know what I'm saying? And then at night, the Cuban actor and the Cuban director, no, actually, I don't think the actor was Cuban. He was Spanish, sorry. But the director was Cuban, would come and would actually film in the evenings, okay, on the exact same sets that they had filmed the English-speaking version of Dracula on. And it was super cool because some people actually consider the Spanish version of Dracula to be far superior, not far, but superior to the English version of Dracula, because since they were filming at night, it was like a little bit more dark and brooding and foreboding. And some people also say the camera work was slightly better, but in a modern context, it's a 1930s film. But yeah, if you ever have a chance, watching Spanish Dracula is actually way cool. So let me see. Anyway, Marianne H. makes a very good observation. Careful, Cody. Cardin's going to troll you with yes or no. I am completely guilty of having told people that I was saying something totally different to the Latinos in the room than what I was really saying. And by the way, in case you're ever wondering, because there is this common insecurity amongst not just Americans, but anybody where somebody else is speaking a foreign language around you, they're not talking about you 99% of the time. Usually it's about food or soccer or crap, I'm late, we got to go somewhere after this. Or they're barking about like their spouse. It's actually when you can hear what all the Latinos in the room are saying when they're speaking Spanish, you would be surprised how completely mundane and boring and nearly comical the conversation is. And it most likely is not about you unless you start speaking Spanish and then they all start talking about you, trying to figure out whether you actually speak Spanish or not, or whether you've just memorized something you learned in school. So anyway, let me see. The B trustee says something interesting. It says polls catch 1/200,000th of the population. They're good for tracking momentum, but are not accurate numbers. If you study the science of polling from a small polling sample, I would agree and disagree simultaneously. I agree that they're better at tracking momentum than they are numbers, but I wouldn't go so far as to say they're not accurate numbers. I would go so far as to say they're not accurate enough. Okay. 2016 was a perfect example. Okay. It's not like they said Hillary's going to be winning by 30 points and then she lost. They were saying, oh, she's going to be winning by 3 points and then she lost by 3 in polls that were within a margin error of 4. So they were outside of their own margin of error by 2%, which from a purely statistical point is pretty cool, but not predictable if it's a winner take all scenario like the presidency. Not predictable enough for me to want to invest my dollars of my hedge fund in a policy that the government's going to have to vote on, or so on and so forth. So I wouldn't say they're inaccurate. I would say they're not accurate enough, if that makes sense. Anyway, Cody, I veer verbose.
No. Never. I don't know.
Ted Tillman offers the advice that when you're in Colombia, never talk about drug cartels. All right.
Pretty good advice.
That's kind of like don't eat yellow snow.
Yeah, well, you'd be surprised stuff people do, right? It's why the advice that exists. There is. I mean, there's. I'm kind of saving this. I don't want to talk too much about this yet because I want to do a video about this in the next few days, right? Me and Cardin are planning on something a few days from now. But so yeah, sorry. That's the tease right there, guys. I'm not gonna get further into this because we're gonna do some videos on these things in a couple days. So, dang, kind of want to show it, but I can't because I'm still waiting. So, what do you want to talk about, Cardin?
We've had a couple of suggestions actually, Cody, and they all have to do with you. You're the star of the show, bro. The California Republicrat says, "Where's the Hey Everybody hats?"
Oh, we can make those.
We can make some Hey Everybody hats. We got to get rid of these Problem Solver Politics hats first. That's why I'm offloading these things. But the next round could be Hey Everybody hats. Also, they said, "Where's the Hey Everybody shirts?" So
we'll look into. I think we're looking into the what's that clothing brand? Because some of you guys,
Teespring.
Yes, the one that's on YouTube. Some of you guys might not notice this. I don't know if you've noticed or not, but there actually might be. Is there a little join button next to our thing? I think we started that as well. So we're looking into. Once we finish getting that stuff figured out, we'll just do stuff through Teespring. That way it'll be right there underneath as well, and it'll be much easier for you guys, and you can see it, buy it, ship it. It'd be very easy. So thank you for the ideas. We'll definitely be looking at that moving forward a bit more because we're just kind of still figuring out a lot of the easiest way to go about these things. So I think next time, like I said, we're definitely going to go through Teespring where it's much easier because we can just upload the graphics. So that's a really good idea.
Yeah, word. Exactly.
It. What was it? Oh, you know what? I was not going to talk about this at all, but I'm going to talk about it a bit. So, a lot of you guys might be familiar with the name McAfee from computers, right? Right? You familiar with McAfee from computers?
Yeah, totally, like McAfee protection for spyware and stuff.
Very, very good. Very good. One and the same. So, a lot of people don't know that John McAfee is the individual who made that. And John McAfee is actually running for president.
Okay.
So, oh man, I really hope YouTube lets me run this. I mean, it's a presidential campaign. So, John McAfee's running for president, and he, A little background about John McAfee's presidential campaign. He's currently wanted by the IRS, so he's running the campaign in exile or on the run, I guess is the better way to say it. I believe in Latin America, or no, sorry, I think the Caribbean. I think he's on the run in the Caribbean on a boat right now, running his presidential campaign. So anyway, he finally decided to post a recent commercial. So we're gonna watch the latest. John McAfee presidential campaign ad. And Carden, I want you to watch it with me and tell me what you think.
Okay.
15 years ago, I had some beautiful software and they took it over.
You thought you knew John McAfee. Gives us the right to shoot whoever we want. And for whatever fucking reason.
I think that's
But man, at the age of 7.
How would you cook your steak? I wouldn't cook it. I think I'd eat it raw.
But in 2020,
What?
the man you thought you knew is really serious.
I'm in fact running for president. In spite of a year of fun, games, and jokes, it is time to get serious. I warned you of this, that at some point, those of us who speak out about how wonderful cryptocurrency will be to free ourselves from governments, from banks, financial institutions, how that will free us, how governments, if we are using privacy coins,
Wow.
will not be able to collect income
Are we gonna get
taxes
copyright struck
because
by a
they will have
cryptocurrency
no
guru or
clue
what?
what our
I
income
have to be honest. I have no idea what the official response is to this John McAfee commercial.
1/4 or more of the year for the government.
So this is the guy. This is the guy that founded the McAfee software company, right?
Yeah, so I guess that's a good gist. Yeah, that is the that.
And look, he's libertarian. What do you know? This brother's Libby.
Okay, you do not want to claim John McAfee, because let's walk through an interesting John McAfee thread. I got a great John McAfee thread to walk you guys through. So, people ask me from time to time. This is a John McAfee tweet right here. Because by the way, most of his campaign exists on Twitter because he's not allowed in the United States of America. I think. I think the IRS is currently chasing him if he enters the country. So anyways, as people ask from time to time about my doubles, meet James Corwell retiring today. We have been virtually interchangeable for going on 31 years. Be well, my good friend, and I will never forget your night in a Mexican jail. As me, it saved my life. Now, some of you guys might be saying, that sounds kind of far-fetched and ridiculous, right? Something out there. Well, this is an article from The Guardian from 2012. John McAfee's double arrested as fugitive denies report of capture. So fugitive software pioneers from 7 years ago, or 8 years ago, John McAfee has dismissed reports of his capture, claiming that it was in fact a double carrying a North Korean passport who was detained for pre-planned misbehavior. In the latest twist in the increasingly bizarre tale, rumors began circulating over the weekend, originating from his own blog that McAfee's life on the run from the Belize police was at an end. But on Monday, the businessman wanted for questioning over the murder of a neighbor confirmed that he was still at large, apologizing for his earlier silence and misdirection. We are not in Belize, but not quite out of the woods yet, he wrote on his blog, whoismcafee.com. Oh, $20 super chat from, hey, Christian Solid. It says, hey, everybody, problem solving politics? Know what I'm saying? We'll have to make a bumper sticker like that.
Hey, Christian Solid, you get your hat, brother. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yes, please send us an email to problemsolvepolitics@gmail.com. So, problem solver.
So this is Mark Percy's, putting it right there. And now we got Christian Solids.
Yeah. I wonder, how many of you guys have John McAfee's, or the software named after John McAfee in your computer right now, right? Here we go. Great quote right here. McAfee appears intent on remaining on the run for as long as possible, telling CNN in an interview Friday, I will certainly not turn myself in, and I will certainly not quit fighting. I will not stop my blog. Again, this is 8 years ago. This happened.
It says he's also wanted for murder somewhere? Is that just hearsay?
In Belize? He's wanted for the murder of a neighbor, yeah. And anyway, so this man is running for president of the United States from a foreign country, I believe. Here we go. He says, here's John McAfee's stance on guns. I think that sums up John McAfee's stance on guns pretty well, actually. Where he says that they are dangerous things that only the well-trained should be allowed to possess.
This should be the only restriction on firearms.
What a guy. Anyway, I just want to make sure everybody is as aware of this guy's presidential campaign as I am, because it's one of the great stories of 2020. It's going to get forgotten that this absolute madman is running a presidential campaign from, I think, it looks like he's off the boat. For a while, he was literally on a boat.
So, is Norton Antivirus named after Norton, a member of the Green Party, who has a wild slew of anti-corporatist and anti-climate change social justice claims because this just McAfee's run by this crazy billionaire.
Well, no, John McAfee.
What's Norton named after?
Well, no, it's because John McAfee created and sold the software. That's why.
But he divested like 15 or 16 years ago.
So I mean,
right?
it has nothing to do with it. They just named after him because he created it.
Okay.
Now he's just an interesting fellow. Again, running for president of the United States. I really hope I don't get pulled off of YouTube for just scrolling down this guy's timeline. But
Yeah.
anyway, there we go. I wish I had more to say, but I have to admit, the John McAfee campaign leaves me at a loss for words. I have no idea. Here we go. Here's a great one. So I'll leave you with this image tweeted out from John McAfee's Twitter account.
Okay. Rock on. Oh my gosh.
Check it out, Carden. You see it?
Next, do I indeed hang out with gangsters? As many hoes I can gangsters. Only pretend gangsters. Oh my gosh, that's funny. All right.
So anyway, this absolute psychopath is running for president. Just want to make sure everyone's aware of that. So keep in mind if this keeps happening, if it keeps flaring up, hear more about this individual. That's who he is.
All right, dude. That is awesome. So this Hey Everybody thing is getting really popular. And apparently they know what I'm saying is something they're lampooning me for. But I looked up this. I didn't realize. I was going to say that you are Cody el Mago, which is like Cody the Magician. I didn't realize there was actually a straight translation for the Oracle. You know what I'm saying? Not the soothsayer, not the prophet, but the Oracle. And you know what you are in Spanish? It's a cognate, meaning it sounds like the English word.
Or a
How
cow?
would you guess? How would you guess you would say Cody the Oracle in Spanish? What would your just layman mind guess?
Like or I have no idea. Or a cow?
Close. Well, that'd be more Brazilian because they say like how. No, it's Cody el Oráculo.
Oh, aha.
You're Cody el Oráculo.
Sounds cooler.
Yeah, it is pretty rad. So, anyway, I just thought that was kind of cool to put out there.
It sounds way cooler. I'll have to. I don't know.
But maybe we just in the middle of or what if we just did it side by side? Like we said, just like, hello, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Problem Solver Politics. Hola, damas y caballeros. Bienvenidos a Problem Solver Politics. You know, we could just do sentence for sentence, bro.
Sorry, I got McAfee's Twitter account open and stuff like this keeps coming up and it's just blowing my mind.
That's funny.
Like, what are you just wearing like a samurai helmet with what is that? It looks almost like a shotgun because it's so wide. I have no idea what that thing is. Just standing by a Camaro, just chilling, man. Just chilling, man. And you know what?
Literally a samurai hat with an automatic weapon.
Yeah, it might be a shotgun. I can't tell. But anyway,
that is just way cool.
Yeah, I wish he wasn't so crazy, so I could maybe endorse him. But woof. I apologize. Like I said, every now and then I remember he's running for president and just getting enthralled.
So,
by this.
I got a question for you, Cody.
Please.
What, in your opinion? Because obviously, you know, most of our content at this point in juncture is still Andrew Yang.
Primary,
for some reason I feel like we didn't capitalize. Actually, I shouldn't say we, but sometimes I feel like the Yang Gang didn't capitalize off of Julian Castro's dropping out of the race, even though he had the highest amount of people considering Andrew Yang as their second choice. People that are considering Julian Castro as their first choice.
That was like one data point, and it was really fluky.
I get it. It was one data point. It's only a snapshot
really
in time.
Fluky. It was like 3% of people support Julian Castro. Of the 3% support Julian Castro,
even if he wasn't the number one,
7% of those supporting Yang. It was,
but still, I don't really felt like there was like any kind of strategic targeting, and I don't even know what that strategic targeting would be. But you'd think that with also Cory Booker, them being good friends, or not good friends, but you know, amicable. More than amicable, I would say. You'd think there'd be some kind of attempt to target that audience and try and swing them your way, right? Atlas brings this up.
But like how?
That's what I'm wondering. Like, what
would you do?
How could you go after Cory Booker folk?
You can't. Like, what? Unless Andrew Yang wants to just be like, actually, I support Cory Booker ideas. It's like, no, you have to just win them over by having good ideas people want. Because seriously, yeah, what do you do? How if what you were doing before wasn't enough to win over a Cory Booker voter, now Cory Booker's out of the race, what can you do to like attract them? Like nothing. You have to just keep doing what you're doing and hope it works, right? Like I don't know what you can do.
I don't know. To me, that seems a little bit too reactionary to say, "Oh, there's nothing you can do." There's got to be something.
I guess you could just start adopting Cory Booker's platform, whatever that is, right?
Yeah.
See what I mean? Because it's like if you change anything to acquire those voters, you're kind of sacrificing who you are. I guess how I feel.
Okay.
So you can't change anything. You have to just keep maybe you could focus your message and target it in different areas, but your message has to remain the same. I feel like also it kind of cheapens your message if you're going to compromise it just to attract somebody, the base of a candidate who just dropped out. By the way, Kamala Harris is still pulling above a lot of people, including Yang, in the race. So like there is a big portion of that electorate that is changing because people are dropping out. That is a good point, but it's weird. Like if you were to like legitimately start changing things, I feel like it would. Maybe it would appeal to those old Castro and Booker voters, but it would turn off current vote supporters, and that's not good.
Okay. Fair enough. This is indeed why we call you Cody el Oráculo. El lindo, el superdotado. El hombre más inteligente de todos los que comentan sobre la política.
Yes, very much.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Do I know what you're saying? I know exactly what you're saying.
What did I say? Just guess. Guess what I said. Cody el más inteligente.
I have no idea.
Cody, which is your name, el más inteligente. The most intelligent man. Quien habla de la política, who speaks about politics.
Oh, you're too kind.
Yeah,
You're
see,
too
that'd be
kind.
pretty sick, man.
Yeah, you're right.
I think we got to get something going in here, dude. Like, we can get a really cool, like, we could get my abuela up in here, you know, and she could, like, do some translating for you. Or we could hire, like, one of those. Dude, what if the debates were done by the dude that announces soccer games? Like, right before Tulsi Gabbard dunks on Kamala Harris. You know, he could be like, oh, ella va a hablar de las personas que puso en la prisión. ¡Yo!
I apologize to everyone's ears who had headphones on.
Yeah, that would be like really awesome. So anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it's like why have wrestler announcers? Yeah, have JR call it. Bow Gold, Tulsi Gabbard just stole her heart. I guess we could do that.
Tulsi Gabbard just moved in and dunked on her about her imprisoning thousands of people of color in the state of California.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, you got that right, JR. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, so I'll make you a deal. You can wrestle call a 5-minute segment of mine if you allow me to soccer goal call 5 minutes of yours.
I don't care. Go ahead. By all means, please.
By all means. So anyway, we only have about, what do we got here? We only got about 22 minutes left, so we got to make sure it's good. What is the biggest thing that's happened in the past since our last podcast, since last Thursday in non-Yang news?
It's a good question, isn't it? I mean, a lot of stuff's happened. Trying to round up. Trying to think of stuff that interests me versus stuff that's like actually happening. Because I have to admit, when it comes to non-Yang stuff, the stuff that interests me is like John McAfee, and I don't know. It's a good question. Let me see if I can remember anything. Because since Thursday, they said they would move forward with impeachment and haven't. That has happened since last Thursday. Andrew Yang did not qualify for the debate. That is not happened yet. What else is going on? It's honestly, like I said, the funniest thing to me was what we were just talking about, that Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren thing, where Elizabeth Warren all of a sudden is like, oh yeah, I just remembered that I spoke with Bernie Sanders 2 years ago, and he said a woman will never win because he's the worst. I hate that. But it's like, that was one of the funniest things that happened. That was really funny. We went over that earlier. I knew we just joined. That was really funny. Just the growing divide between longtime friends, allegedly. I guess not allegedly. I think they were at one point friends, but looks like once it's all fun and games until someone passes you in the polls. And now we're getting Elizabeth Warren saying, maybe we're not friends anymore, and maybe I'm going to lie about you and call you a sexist, or maybe she is not lying, and Bernie Sanders is desperately trying to save himself. Both are hilarious to me just because, like, you know why it's funny to me? It's funny to me because it says one thing. We are getting to election. We're getting to the actual voting. People are starting to go crazy, start flailing, and start freaking out. Aside from that, man, I don't got a whole lot more to say, unfortunately, because, like, I take that back. Mariah Carey had a very good year, right? Mariah Carey set many records for Mariah Carey set the record. She was the first artist ever to have a #1 single in 4 different decades.
Whoa, I
She's
forgot.
also
she topped the charts with her Christmas
She's the first
song.
artist ever to have a song that went from #1 in the Billboard chart to off the chart the following week as well.
Wow, you're right. Actually, that is quite incredible.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Mary Ann dropped out. Julian Castro dropped out. Cory Booker dropped out. I guess we can talk about all three of the dropouts. That kind of slipped my mind. Unfortunately, like we've hit the part of the campaign now where it's like when Kamala Harris dropped out, that was like, whoa, Kamala Harris dropped out. Geez, she's polling at like double digits. But when Castro, Booker, and Mary Ann dropped out, they were all kind of getting shouldered away anyway. Someone mentioned something though that I want to bring up. Cardin. Someone said, wasn't Zoltan coming on at one point? Yes, we had something set up. It fell through because of just the holidays and plans.
Yeah.
We're working to get them back up really soon because we really want to bring Zoltan on. But
Zim asked a good question. Are you guys thinking about companion streaming the debate? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be really interesting. It's like
That's an interesting question, though, now that Andrew Yang's not going to be there.
That's what I mean, because it'll be really weird to watch just because, like...
Well, what's the demand? I'd be curious from the chat. I was thinking about doing it anyway, no matter what. However, at the same time, do we want to voluntarily subject ourselves to a clown show? You know, I mean, really, Andrew Yang was like an anchor on a boat, and Tulsi Gabbard to a certain extent.
For the memes, maybe just for the memes.
Maybe just for the memes.
Maybe just for the memes.
Okay, like literally, if we did a companion stream, at least from my perspective, it would not be for enjoyment or for education, which is really the only two reasons why you follow politics, is to educate yourself on politics or to enjoy politics, the political theater of it at least. And it would be nothing but really bad, crappy political theater. So I don't know. We'll have to consider that. What do you guys want? Do you want a companion stream for the debate, or should we wait around until the next debate that he will qualify for? Speaking of which, Cody, do you think he will qualify for the next debate?
Oh my God. Pardon me. I do, because I think he's going to surprise people when his performance in New Hampshire and Iowa. I am going to admit, looking around, the polls aren't bearing it out yet, but I do believe he's going to perform better than the polls. It is really getting, what's the better word for it? I'm trying to look for it. It's a little unfortunate, regardless of methodology, regardless of the reasons for it. The polls have not been bearing out the improvements that Yang is definitely hoping to see. I still believe on election day it's going to come out, but it's getting closer to faith than anything else at this point. You know what I mean? But I do think that your performance in Iowa and New Hampshire will play into that February debate. I don't well enough there to justify a position. Now, will the DNC allow him? Separate question. But will he perform well enough in the polls in New Hampshire and Iowa to make it to the February debate? I do think he will, yes. Again, that's just me thinking. I wish I could show you polls to back it up. Right now I can't, but I do believe they are missing a big base that's going to come out. So I think he'll surprise people.
Okay, so we're getting a lot of people saying they'd like it. A lot of people saying they're going to skip. I'll actually have to go up here and I'll take a little bit of a tally. Or I can just do, I'm going to do a poll. I'm just going to do a community post poll and see if people want us to follow it. Also, we're getting a lot of interesting data here. It's saying, he just got another 5%, so on and so forth. We're definitely going to be diving into a lot of that data. It depends on whether or not the DNC approves the poll. That's a problem. A lot of these times you look at these polls and it's like, look, Andrew Yang just released a poll showing that he gets 5%. Yeah, well, that was an internal poll paid for by the campaign, which doesn't count. You really need to hyper focus.
Well, no, but he had the poll. I believe CNN and someone else does it. It's released through the Des Moines Register. What is it? The blah blah blah. That he's at 5%. No, he has some. It's just there's also here's the tricky thing is, while he has, that was a particularly good poll, but it was Iowa. I'm just talking about particularly Iowa and New Hampshire, right? Because there's national polls who do okay in. Recently, a California poll came out that he actually dropped 2 points in, which is not very good.
Yeah.
But as far as Iowa and New Hampshire go, that's what I'm really focused on. Because Iowa and New Hampshire is where he's actually campaigning. Like, if he's showing gains in South Carolina, or he's showing gains in like California, or even losses, less to do with his actual campaigning. Most of that's going on in Nevada, New Hampshire, and Iowa. So those are really the states I'm focused on. And like I said, I haven't had the actual, here's him at 8% in Iowa to show yet, but I do believe he's going to poll closer. His results will be closer to double digits than the polls will be. I do believe that.
Okay,
that makes sense.
I got a question here. I got a question for the chat. Me and Cody did a video recently in which we were really frustrated that in its highest turnover year, when more House of Representatives congressmen were replaced, the House of Representatives still enjoyed an 85% reelection rate. an 85% reelection rate. They average some years in the 90th percentile that we reelect these people that keep doing this to us. So I got a question for a lot of the registered Democrats out there, or the people that have just registered Democrat in order to vote for Andrew Yang. Has the duplicity and the corruption of the 2016 and the 2020 election cycles, is that enough for you to shirk your Democrat Party affiliation? In California, Republicans are actually now the third party. So many people have shirked their Republican affiliation out of frustration with Trump, out of the negative marketing done by the mainstream media in California against Republicans, calling them racist, homophobic, bigoted, X, Y, or Z, whatever. Their perpetual laziness and absolute refusal to modernize, except for some really, really good, solid Republicans in California that maintain their seats despite wide margins, but they're so small that they can't even hold a minority in the House against the Democrat supermajority. So anyway, so many Republicans have shirked their republicanism and just become DTSs, or declined to states in California, so much so that now there's more registered declined to states than there are registered Republicans in the state of California. Has 2016 and 2020 been enough for you registered Democrats to just say, that's it, I'm not a Democrat anymore. This is just too corrupt and I'm not a corrupt person? Maybe I'm not expecting you to switch, to Republican or anything, though that would be great. But is that enough? Is that enough to say, that's it, I'm just going DTS? I don't want to even give these people the pleasure of my party affiliation so they can send me propaganda. I'm curious. Is what's happened to Andrew Yang enough to make you go DTS or independent? Because a lot of people are asking if he'll do an independent run. Yeah, I flip that mirror back on myself and I say, well, would I have the guts to go independent myself? You know what I'm saying? Because the voter base is just as much the problem as the quality of the candidates in our republic here. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just curious. Is the corruption of 2016 or 2020 enough for you to leave the Democrat Party for different waters? Answer that in the chat. Because it seems like American politics is all up in their lane with an 85 to 90% reelection rate, no matter what we do to these people. And I think the Democrats know it.
But the thing is, which is the non-corrupt party? Who are the non-corrupt politicians again? I really have a hard time keeping track of who the non-corrupt ones are.
Hey, then why don't you just read the super chat?
From Max and Ishi, $5. Keep it up. Thank you very much. Huh?
By the way, that's a sick GIF.
Well, like you can comment little pictures now. It's something new YouTube added, but yeah, it's just dude, it's one of the reasons why I don't know. I think I think the party you registered your affiliation to is just most of the time people have registered a party because by and large the candidates who run under that party for Senate, Congress, and stuff are closer to what they like than anything else, because both parties are corrupt, full of charlatans, full of liars. I mean, it's the funny thing you'll notice. I tell people all the time, the day if Andrew Yang gets elected, the day he gets sworn in, it's gonna be like, okay, well now this jerk's the president, and he's gotta, and we gotta hold him accountable. You gotta keep these. You gotta once these people get in office, they're not just citizens anymore. They're actually elected officials, whether it be congressperson, senator, governor, assembly person, no matter what it is. Their priorities and everything change. So I think it's where most people know that, or familiar with that they're getting lied to and screwed by these people.
Okay, so Andrew LaBerge challenges you. I'm getting a lot of yeses here. Most people are saying yes, they would leave. But Andrew LaBerge says Green Party corruption. Cody, if you say they're all corrupt, what's the Green Party's corruption, Doc? Too much weed? No.
Give me 10 minutes to let you know. Give me 10 minutes to look it up. I guarantee you they've done something corrupt. It's because the bottom line is this. You know what? Actually, I want to walk that back a bit. Because the way to prove you're not corrupt in politics is to lose a lot. Because if you're not corrupt, you can't win. So
and the sad thing is,
people who win are corrupt always. So I guess maybe the Green Party, I have to admit, I don't look into them as much as possible. Perhaps libertarians aren't that corrupt. It's one of the reasons why they poll very poorly.
And
but
they lose.
Yeah, because if you want to win, you gotta be corrupt. Clearly, I mean, look no further than Bernie Sanders in 2016. Even though it didn't work out so great for everyone, they stole it from him to the point where he was like, fine, I'll endorse Hillary if I got to play that game, because it's just the corruption runs so deep everywhere.
Yeah, so Elected News just gave us a super chat. Says, love the show, guys. Would love to collab. Hey, sure.
Yeah. No, sorry, man. I saw your email the other day. I'll get back to you very soon, hopefully. We're just really bad with everything.
Yeah, so what else is really interesting about what you said, Cody? This was interesting. I got a lot of people saying yes. I was surprised. There was only one no that I saw. One guy that's a hardcore sellout. Not sellout, a hardcore. What's the person that stays on the ship even as it goes down, that refuses to sell out? What do you call that?
Well, I believe the name for the person who stays down with the ship is the captain.
Oh, okay. So we got one Democrat captain here who said no, but everybody else pretty much said yes. And this is what that's what breaks my heart, though, is like the party system, if done correctly, ideally would actually yield better candidates and would yield more prepared leaders and would yield. It's just like unions. Unions aren't inherently bad. When done well, they yield a better trained workforce, a collectively bargained labor force that's happier, and management is happier with them. It's only when unions are done badly that you really start getting these animosities. The party system could work if we just didn't suck at it so bad. And it is a bipartisan problem. The decline of the party system in America is a bipartisan problem.
One of my favorite tweets is, I want to see if I can pull it up, but you know the style of tweet where you just tweet the same sentence over and over and over again? You see that, like, activist people do it? Somebody put a tweet. I wish I could find it. Someone can find it, let me know. And they said if Twitter existed in 2001, y'all would be tweeting, oh my God, Iraq has weapons of mass destruction. Iraq has weapons of mass destruction. Because it's crazy to me how little. There was a report. I'm going to dig up that thread and post it on Twitter tomorrow. You guys can take a look at it. There was a report released about the government's, like, a bunch of, like, details came out for the government talking about the war in Iraq. I think it was Donald Rumsfeld, who's, in charge of all this stuff at one point, said, we've been here for years, and I still have no idea who we're actually fighting and what's going on. All of the intel's bad. It was the biggest clown show for years. We lied about weapons of mass destruction, lied about them for years. They just said they have weapons of mass destruction. No, they didn't. Like, think about it. That was over, we're going on 20 years now since that happened. Almost 17, 18 years. Any of those people served anything for that? I remember, hey, say what you want about the man. Donald Trump on the debate stage said that he thinks George Bush belongs in prison for being a war criminal. He said that on the debate stage. He said George W. Bush should be in prison for being a war criminal. Like, it is so, it's kind of like the Epstein stuff. Like, everyone is just so, like, it's so obvious and so well known, but none of these people will serve a day. None of them will pay for anything they do. So I don't know. It's just hilarious when you look back and it's like, oh yeah, remember when all those people lied and got all those people killed? That was awesome. I'm so glad to this day people are dying in the Middle East because of literal lies our government told us. So yeah. But hey, I'm sure somebody. Oh no, a lot of those people still work in the government. Actually, I was gonna walk that back. I'm sure most people are out of the government, but no, a lot of them are still in the government.
So Michael Jones says El Capitano. It's actually El Capitan. There's an emphasis on that last A there, brother. So anyway, we only got 8 minutes left here, guys. We are on 7 minutes if I'm looking at my clock correctly. We only got 7 minutes left here, so make sure that you throw us. Oh my gosh, no, I did it wrong. Sorry. No, 6 minutes and 30 seconds left. So make sure you guys hit us up with your last super chats, your last questions here as we start wrapping it up. So far, for those of you guys that just tuned in a little bit late, we talked about some of the chisme, the gossip that was going on between Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren's
that's
camp.
Just gearing up, by the way. There's no way this just goes away before the votes are cast. This is just gearing up.
Yeah, I am really excited to see as the crowd gets thinned and it really starts getting policy-centric around Yang, Warren, and Biden. I'm really excited to see the fireworks because here's the deal. Anything Bernie says, Warren is going to try and outdo because she's constantly trying to out-Bernie. She's trying to out-socialize Bernie. But then Bernie's not going to be taking that crap because he's the original gangster. And she's just, this young spring chicken that walked into the room. He's from the silent generation. She's just the baby boomer that walks in, and so he's going to be wanting to put her straight. Okay. Meanwhile, there's Biden who ain't going to be taking it because I already had a job in the White House, and he'll be saying, come on. And he'll be telling us all kinds of cool gaffes about his leg hair and cockroaches. And,
You know what? Like, that would be interesting if Biden did somehow get elected, right? The idea of, we're talking about for the age of the candidates. Semper Malice, $2 super chat. Glad you are back streaming. Always a good time. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate you being here with us. Always a lot of fun. But it would be weird. When was the last time I heard, I'm sure you'll push back on this, but I've heard during the end of Reagan's tenure, there was a little bit of around the White House, like, okay, this guy's actually starting to get pretty old now. Like, it would be weird again having that. Imagine any social media age where you can't kind of cover stuff up. If Joe Biden got elected, let's say somehow Joe Biden is just the establishment's so strong he wins in 2020 and 2024. It'd be weird, 2026, 2027, like, just seeing the president go like senile, or not really senile. We don't mean just start getting old and losing his faculties. Because, dude, you can't hide this.
Hey,
stuff
no, we
anymore on
watched it
social
with
media.
Reagan.
What I'm saying is
we watched it with
social
Reagan.
media. Imagine post social media. Like they couldn't cover any of it anymore.
It was sad when you look at some of those. What the Democrats did when they tried to lambast him for some of those last briefings, they were literally just trying to embarrass him in the congressional record. And he would literally sit there and just say, I'm sorry, I just don't remember this really well. You know what I'm saying? And then it gets out 6 months later. He's almost, on his way out from not dementia, but Alzheimer's, and that was all just when you only got glimpses of what was televised on the congressional record, not, trackers that are following you around, catching your seizures before the Secret Service shoves you in the door of the van.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? I can't even imagine what it would be like now. So, got an interesting comment here in the California poll that was mentioned earlier that had Andrew Yang lose 2 points and got 3%. He wasn't even included as a choice. 3% wrote him in. Interesting.
Again, but it's a bad sign that they're conducting polls that he used to be on that he's no longer on anymore. Like I'm not saying Andrew Yang isn't making gains because the polls are saying that. What I'm saying is these data points keep coming out, whether they be rigged, whether they be worked, whatever the reason for them is. It's not good that they come out for him. He has to work harder to overcome it. Like I said, I think he'll overperform on election day, but he has to work harder now because data points keep coming out showing he isn't gaining ground, where I think he is. So he has to work twice as hard to prove it in election day, which is it's a bad spot to be in. You don't like that. He'd much rather the polls were showing he was getting the gains he's probably getting because that would help, but the polls are not going to be any help of him. He's going to have to do this based on just fervor, right? Like you're not going to have any of the media helping you. The polls aren't helping at all. It's got to just be the actual passion of the campaign. So it's a tough spot to be in, man. It's not an enviable position. I'm saying it's because I have it pulled up right here. I'm looking like multiple polls came out today, which are tough. They're polls that Andrew Yang is going to have to go like, okay, these aren't great polls, but what do I do about this? Right? Here's the one because one national poll came out. There's another one that came out today with him at 3. Right? Like, it's tough, man.
Yeah.
It's not like every poll is good or every poll is bad. It's just he's getting a lot come up that aren't showing him making gains. So he's going to have to work twice as hard to make up for that. It's, because here we go. Here we get the polls that he released from his campaign, which I do believe. Again, remember, these are in Nevada and New Hampshire. So the New Hampshire one's good, but Iowa's the state he really needs to check up. So I think this 5% in the DM Register CNN poll, that was really good for him in Iowa. It was just the recent one in Iowa coming out with him behind Cory Booker. It's rough, dude. Like it's hard to spin that when you come behind a guy who just dropped out today. Monmouth has always been rough on him. The way they do their polling, it's very much based on they don't poll people who didn't vote in 2016 or 2008. If you didn't vote in 2018, at the minimum, they probably aren't polling you. So again, he engages voters who don't fit that bill. However, he still has to rectify the fact that outside of his main base, he's still not gaining ground. So it's tough, man. It's a tough spot to be in right now because you have to kind of go off faith here. Anyway, Max Anishi, $5 super chat. There should be an age cap for presidential candidates for the country's sake. And hi, Cody. Hey, how you doing?
All right. And then Burnout, $4.53, $20 super chat. Thank you, my man or my woman. We don't know what you are. Burnout, that's a unisex name. Thanks for the great content, guys. Keep up the great work. Hey, Burnout, make sure that you send us your IRL name and address so we can send you a hat. Anybody? Yeah, by the way, those of you that didn't tune in, we're getting rid of all the rest of our hats today. So if you give us a $20 super chat or more, we're going to unload, as long as you live in the United States of America, by the way. It has to be in the continental U.S. We're giving you away a hat. Fred the Felon's back, $2 super chat. Dude, he said something about Waterloo. Dude, go to Waterloo and canvas Waterloo.
Yeah, Waterloo. I mean, dude,
we're still planning on making our canvassing video where Mormon style, door to door.
Yeah,
like a Mormon missionary.
Yeah, because he brings up a good point that it's one of the reasons why it's so important. There is a lot of people in Iowa right now for Yang. I believe month now. It's been expanded. So many people showed up. Is because it's going to have to be the actual work, pounding the pavement stuff that does it now. It's hard to lean on media reports, hard to lean on polling data. It's got to be just the the sweat equity, I guess. It's kind of a weird term to use here, but that's what's going to have to come through. Thank you, Fred. Appreciate it. And yeah, anyone who's thinking about going down there, definitely is a lot of people down there. I almost feel bad for people in Iowa because they're getting assaulted by like I see pictures of like Bernie canvassers walking by Buttigieg canvassers and then Yang. It's like almost like you know what? I feel like there's people that probably hate it every 2 years or 4 years. People who love it. They're like, oh, cool. This is the young people coming to my door and talk to me about stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? People probably like, oh god, these canvassers, but it doesn't make a difference. Someone says, does Cody know how to hack? We need everyone to connect. Depends. Define hack. My favorite, because the favorite hack I ever heard in my life was famous hacker. Guccifer or Guccifer, however you pronounce his name.
Yeah,
I
Guccifer.
believe it was Nancy Pelosi or Dianne Feinstein. I think it was Nancy Pelosi. The way you got
The guy that hacked the iPhones and the Androids.
No, the way
right?
he got into Nancy Pelosi's email, her Yahoo account. He found out her Yahoo email address, so he plugged it in and said, "I forgot my password." And one of the recovery questions was, "What was the name of the street you lived on?" So he went and tried to find info. He was actually able to find out what elementary school Nancy Pelosi went to. So once he figured out what elementary school was, I believe it was Pelosi and not Feinstein. Anyway, once he knew what elementary school she went to, he just kept plugging in street names, a couple mile radius, right? How far can you go to elementary school? And eventually he found the right one and changed her password, and that's how he hacked her email account. So that's a lot of hacking is that. A lot of hacking is, you know what the best hack is? You send somebody an email saying, this is Google. In order to change your email password, you have to give it to us right now. Click on this link. Like, that's the other really great way of the hacking. So as far as like actually trying to get into like back ends and like force your way in through, no, I have no idea. But I'm aware of the methods people use to do what we refer to as hacking, but it's more just deceiving people. It's tricking people. It's like con man stuff, really. For the most part.
All right, we got to send a hat to Fred the Felon. Just hooked us up with another super chat.
Thank you very much, Fred. Super chat. $20 for a hat. Yang Gang, Truckers for Yang. Let's win this thing. Thank you very much, Fred.
Boom. So Fred the Felon. That's our other one.
You know
right
what?
there.
Yeah, I guess
stack of
last time
4
Fred
out.
was actually here in the studio in person. We didn't have the hats yet. Forgot about that. I was wondering, I'm like, it's weird. But yeah, so there we go.
Yes, we got to hook him up. So anyway, guys, today has been great. In the last 15 seconds, if you've got any super chats you want to get out of your system, you can get out of your system and we'll send you a hat. But other than that, it has been an absolute honor and a privilege serving with you guys, talking with you guys, commiserating with you guys, and plotting with you guys all things election 2020. Make sure that you guys always subscribe to us. If you haven't pressed subscribe yet, boom, smash that subscribe button. Make sure you like and share this live stream or clips from it with whoever you want, whenever you want, wherever you want. That's the best way to get the word out. Also on Twitter, make sure that you follow us on Twitter, okay, at PSP Radio 1. Cody is the one that generally interacts on Twitter, and I'm the guy that hits us up on Instagram under Problem Solver Politics. So make sure on Twitter and on Instagram you guys follow us, and check out the join button on our channel. If you want to become a member of our channel, you actually get a members only live stream and occasional members only video content and community posts, which are actually super cool.
You also get, you also get little emotes and just during live streams. So we're going to be playing around with the emotes, having fun, similar to Twitch emotes. So that's cool.
Yeah. So anyway,
and I got to get this out. Fred the Felon, another $20. Thank you so much, Fred, man. Said, here's $20 super chat, LOL. So thank you very much, man. And again, Fred the Felon, I'm sure a lot of you guys in the chat are familiar with him. If you aren't, I'll promote him a little bit because he's too modest of a guy. But hold on a second. Like I said, guys, sometimes when
while you're pulling it up,
my brain just shuts down. I got it right here. Anyway, Fred is behind Truckers for Yang. I'm sure you guys, a lot of you guys have seen the giant, it's a cool rendering of one, the big Yang wrap truck driving all around the country. I've seen him in Los Angeles, Nevada. He's all over the country. So very cool. Thank you very much, Fred. I just want to give him a little shout out.
So Diva J asks that we do a Spanish side off. Are you ready, Cody?
Oh no.
Okay.
Or I guess you know what? Oh no.
Yeah. Oh no. So all you have to do, Cody, is occasionally switch it to you and just go like this. Okay. All right. Just go like this and say así es. Just practice with me once. Así es.
Así es.
Así es. Okay. So here we go. You ready? Bueno, damas y caballeros, ha sido un placer, un gustazo hablar con ustedes hoy sobre estos temas políticas. Espero que ustedes vuelvan y que hagan clic en el like y el subscribe, el botón de like y subscribe. Vamos a estar aquí el jueves que viene. Espero que estén ahí. Hasta la próxima, Cody. And now you just switch it to you and go, así es.
Así es.
Así es. Ha sido un placer. Ciao de Problem Solver Politics.
Yes, there you go.
Adios.
And one more thing, I just want to give one more shout out to Fred. Yeah, if you guys want to see more of those trucks out there, I'll see if I'll have the link and I can put it in there. The Truckers for Yang, so you guys can go give them some love. They're doing some awesome stuff, and here we go. Here's a link to the website. Give them some love as well, because Fred, since we started doing the live streams, Fred's been hanging out with us. He's an awesome guy.
All right, see you guys next live stream on Thursday. This is Problem Solver Politics. Adios.